Aileen Wuornos, angel or demon, Aileen Wuornos. The name alone evokes a chilling blend of fascination and dread. Was she a cold-blooded serial killer preying on innocent men? Or was she, as she claimed, a victim herself, driven to desperate measures by a life of unimaginable abuse and betrayal? Aileen's story is a twisted tapestry of pain, rage, and ultimately violence. It's a story that forces us to confront uncomfortable truths about societal neglect, the cycle of abuse, and the very nature of good and evil. Shattered innocence, a childhood lost. Aileen Carol Pittman's entry into the world was far from idyllic. Born in 1956, her childhood was a harsh lesson in abandonment and neglect. From the very beginning, she was thrust into a world that seemed to have no place for her, a world that was cold and unwelcoming. Abandoned by her mother and later orphaned, she was left to the care of abusive grandparents. These early years were marked by a profound sense of loss and betrayal, feelings that would haunt her for the rest of her life. The seeds of a turbulent future were sown early. Physical abuse, sexual exploitation, and emotional neglect became her twisted norm. Each day was a struggle for survival, a battle against the very people who were supposed to protect her. The world had failed her before she even had a chance to understand it. Her innocence was shattered, her trust in humanity broken beyond repair. It's impossible to comprehend the profound impact of such profound trauma on a young mind. The scars left by such experiences run deep, shaping the person she would become. Imagine a child enduring such horrors, her spirit slowly crumbling under the weight of constant fear and degradation. The light in her eyes dimming with each passing day, replaced by a haunting emptiness. It's no surprise that Aileen's formative years were marked by delinquency, running away, and a desperate search for love and acceptance in all the wrong places. Her actions were a cry for help, a plea for someone to see her pain and offer a lifeline. The streets of despair. Survival at any cost. By the age of 15, Aileen found herself alone and adrift, seeking refuge in the dangerous embrace of the streets. Prostitution became her means of survival, a brutal exchange of intimacy for fleeting moments of security. Each encounter chipped away at her soul, hardening her against a world that had shown her little but cruelty. Imagine the constant fear, the vulnerability, the dehumanization of selling your body just to survive another day. Aileen's descent into darkness was gradual, fueled by years of accumulated rage and a deep-seated mistrust of men. The men she encountered weren't clients. They were reminders of the abuse she had endured, the pain she carried deep within. Aileen's timeline descent into darkness. This is the harrowing journey of Aileen Wuornos, a woman whose life spiraled into a series of tragic and violent events, leading her to become one of America's most infamous female serial killers. 1956. Aileen Carol Pittman is born in Rochester, Michigan. Her early years are marked by instability and neglect, setting the stage for a troubled life ahead. 1960. Abandoned by her mother, Aileen and her brother are raised by their abusive grandparents. The environment is harsh and unloving, contributing to Aileen's growing sense of isolation and anger. 1969. Aileen runs away from home and begins living on the streets. She is just 13 years old, and the streets offer no refuge, only more hardship and danger. She survives by panhandling and engaging in prostitution. The life of a runaway is fraught with peril, and Aileen quickly learns to fend for herself in a world that seems to offer no mercy. 1974. Aileen is arrested for the first time for disorderly conduct and DUI. This marks the beginning of her frequent run-ins with the law, as her life continues to spiral out of control. 1976. Aileen marries a wealthy 70-year-old man. The marriage is an attempt to find stability, but it quickly becomes clear that this union is doomed from the start. The marriage is short-lived and tumultuous, ending in a restraining order against Aileen. Her volatile behavior and inability to escape her past traumas make it impossible for her to maintain any semblance of a normal life. 1986. Aileen meets Tyria Moore, a hotel maid, and they begin a romantic relationship. For a brief period, Aileen finds solace and companionship, but her inner demons continue to haunt her. 1989 to 1990. Aileen kills 7 men along Florida highways. These brutal acts of violence are a culmination of years of abuse, neglect, and rage. She claims self-defense, stating that each victim raped or attempted to rape her. Her story is one of survival, but the law sees it differently. 1991. Aileen is arrested for the murders. The arrest is a dramatic end to her killing spree, but it is only the beginning of her legal battles. 1992. Aileen is convicted of the first murder and sentenced to death. The courtroom is filled with tension as the jury delivers its verdict, sealing Aileen's fate. 2002. After a series of appeals, Aileen Wuornos is executed by lethal injection. Her life, marked by tragedy and violence, comes to a grim end, leaving behind a legacy of infamy and a cautionary tale of a descent into darkness. Her voice, her truth, echoes from death row. Throughout her trials and incarceration, Aileen maintained a defiant stance, her voice often laced with anger and resentment. "I'd rather be on death row than be in that shithole they call prison," she once declared, her words a chilling testament to her utter disillusionment with the justice system. Her interviews and court testimonies were a bizarre mix of vulnerability and aggression. At times, she appeared remorseful, tears streaming down her face as she spoke of the men she killed. At other times she was cold and calculating, her voice devoid of emotion as she recounted the killings in chilling detail. Self-defense or cold calculation. The line blurs and the truth becomes elusive. Aileen consistently maintained that she killed in self-defense, claiming that each of her victims had raped or attempted to rape her while she was working as a prostitute. Her life on the streets was fraught with danger, and she believed she had no other choice but to protect herself. "They raped me," she stated emphatically, her voice filled with raw emotion. "They deserve to die." Her words echoed the pain and trauma she had endured, painting a picture of a woman pushed to the edge. However, the prosecution presented a different narrative, portraying Aileen as a calculating predator who lured men to their deaths. They depicted her as someone who meticulously planned her actions, driven by greed and a cold-blooded desire for money. They argued that she robbed her victims and that her claims of self-defense were a fabrication to avoid responsibility for her actions. The evidence they presented included personal belongings and money found at the crime scenes, suggesting a motive beyond mere survival. The truth, as is often the case, likely lay somewhere in between. The scales of justice struggled to balance the conflicting narratives, each side presenting compelling arguments. It's possible that Aileen's past trauma, coupled with the dangerous reality of her life on the streets, created a volatile mix of fear, rage, and distorted perception, leading her to believe that her actions were justified. Her life experiences may have clouded her judgment, making it difficult to discern reality from her own fears and traumas. The making of a monster, trauma's grip on the mind. To understand Aileen Wuornos, we must delve into the profound impact of trauma on the human psyche. Childhood abuse, neglect, and sexual exploitation can leave deep scars, shaping an individual's perception of the world and their place in it. Aileen's early experiences left her deeply wounded, emotionally stunted, and ill-equipped to navigate the complexities of healthy relationships. The world in her eyes became a dangerous and unforgiving place, populated by predators seeking to exploit and harm her. This distorted worldview, combined with her untreated mental health issues, likely contributed to her violent actions. Society's mirror. Reflecting on our failures. Aileen Wuornos' story is not just about one woman's descent into darkness. It's a chilling indictment of societal failures. It forces us to confront uncomfortable questions about our responsibility towards the most vulnerable members of our society. Where were the social safety nets that should have protected a young Aileen from abuse and neglect? Where were the mental health resources that could have helped her heal from her trauma? Instead of receiving compassion and support, Aileen encountered judgment and indifference. She was failed by the very systems that should have protected her. ultimately leading her down a path of destruction. Beyond the headlines, a legacy of unanswered questions. Aileen Wuornos' story continues to captivate and disturb us, long after her execution. She remains an enigma, a complex and contradictory figure who defies easy categorization. Was she a victim of circumstance or a ruthless killer? Were her actions a product of mental illness or a calculated choice? These questions linger, forcing us to grapple with the gray areas of human nature. Aileen's legacy is a reminder that the line between victim and perpetrator is often blurred, and that the truth is rarely simple or straightforward. A haunting reminder we are all shaped by our past. Aileen Wuornos' tragic story serves as a haunting reminder that we are all shaped by our past experiences. It underscores the importance of addressing childhood trauma, providing adequate mental health care, and offering a helping hand to those who have fallen through the cracks of society. While we cannot condone her actions, we can strive to understand the factors that contributed to her horrific crimes. By acknowledging the complexities of her story, we can begin to address the systemic failures that allowed her to fall through the cracks. Only then can we hope to prevent similar tragedies from unfolding in the future.